So I will try to speak in English, and my English is not so good, but just to show some elements concerning a document that was found many years ago in Aquileia, but that is still unpublished. Some years ago, when with Maurizio Bora we was working on the remains collected, on the ancient remains collected during the archaeological excavation for the modern sewer system of Aquileia, the technician working in the museum, Daniele Pasini, showed us some fragments, very interesting, that are coming from an ancient collection. So the ancient museal collection, probably the collection organized by Enrico Maionica in the first decades of life of the museum. And these fragments, some of them packaged, rolled, some other open by the same technician, seems to be at the beginning very interesting. In particular, let me see here, that there are some letters you may read in these fragments. In particular, this fragment that we will see, you can see here is recto and verso. Then Daniele Pasini has opened this little fragment, and he takes some analysis also, and he say that it is probably silver as a metal, a silver object, may be better a league between lead and silver. Due to the kind of pattern of corrosion of the metal that may be observed also from the picture. So I take at the moment some picture, and then in the evening and the following day I try to read what was written on this little text, and I was convinced that even I can read just some few letters correctly or more or less correctly, that it should be a defixio. And what is interesting that this should be the first no defixio coming from Aquileia. So I try to search in the archive and in older publication if there are mention of this kind of document, because the fragments are without a number of inventory, so it was impossible to find in the inventory of the museum some information. And what I found was the mention in the guide of the museum, written in the second version of the guide of the museum, written by Enrico Maionica, that in some tabulae devotionis mit caricaturen und Kritzeleien gegen lebende oder tote Gegner, siehe im Saale 5. Kasten 1. Dann es gibt diese, we have this information, sorry, concerning the possible presence of one or more object, and the description is real similar to what we have seen, so thanks to Daniele Pasini. And there is another information coming from the Notizie Scavi of 1914, when Alfonso Alfonsi wrote that he had publishing defixio, say that a defixio from Este, say that this kind of document is very rare in northern Italy, was at the time very rare, and also today in northern Italy. And he said, I know just some example, But there is another third example that Professor Maionica said was found in Aquileia and is still not published. Okay, so it is possible the same object that we have to do today, but I'm not sure about that, because Daniele Pasini said that it was enrolled, so it was impossible to read what was writing inside. And from the information from Alfonsi, it seems clear that Maionica was sure that it should be the Fixio, and he spoke with him describing that. So I'm not sure. This is the only information that we have about this fragment, and this fragment in the complex. So then I decided to use the method described by Florian in our first online meeting, the RTI method, thanks to the technician working in our department in the University of Udine, who built a dome that we have used proved to use some years ago with the student of previous course. And this dome is particular. You may see have 16 ribs, each ribs with 4 lights, and you may do take with the camera at the top. You may take 64 pictures from the same position, with the light moving for each picture in a different position. That is, from light from different points. And I don't will show now the video because it's too long, but this is the position at the center of the object, with the 2 balls that are useful to understand where the light comes, and then from the final picture, the side we should be cut away, then we have only the central part of the picture. Okay, but we go with the final result. This is not so good, apparently, because the picture taken from the top, direct from the light on the top. But when you collect all the picture together in the program, you can, with the mouse, go around on one part or the other, and with your mouse, the light will go around the object and give you the possibility to highlight from right, left, or from different points the object, so to have the best possibility to read the text. Maybe you may read some letter from with the light on the right, or some other are better distinguishable from the left. This is some example also of the possibility that this program offers to change one of the most interesting picture using different variation of light, luminosity, of what's to say, provenance of the light that is understood by the system, obviously, and will improve in the darkness or highlight of some part of the object. And then choosing some of the best picture obtained with the use of RTI system, we try to make a drawing of the text written originally on the lamina. Here is one of the best picture of the recto, and then what we try to have using Photoshop or similar programs. And some filters are not so bad because you can read the letter, but the idea was to have a program that will directly give us the drawing of the letter, excluding all the rumors, as to say. And then we contacted some colleagues from the Princeton University. They have searched to do the same work, but after 2 years, they abandoned the project. And they give us the sources of the program they used, and but also as after 5 years, the sources were not more useful. The computer are not more able to work with this program. We try to rescribe, but the problem is that yeah, you can obtain something, but you need to work 1 or 2 years drawing the single segment in order that the program will be able to identify the single segment as a segment to be drawn. So it was a very long and expensive work. And then we come back to the traditional one, using using our big picture, and so this is another lamina, golden lamina in this case, and some of the drawing made by the student in this case. Okay, yeah, there are some differences, but I think the result is better probably than the work with modern system at the moment. But having the picture and the result of the use of RTI, I try to read the text of the recto and of the verso. This is the first possible transcription of the recto and this of the verso. What is interesting in this object? It was obviously written very fast, using the hand as a support. It is written in a cursive form that uses many capital letter of rustic type, as to say, and other that are cursive. Sometimes the same letter is written in both cursive and non-cursive form, and there are many differences inside the form, in the form of the same letter. But the author of the text, both sides of the lamina, was the same, and he wrote with, I think, a good capability, because there are just one point in which on the other side is possible to see the letter that is on the other side. So the trace is very light, not strong made. And here we can see very fast some possible reconstruction due to the damages, due to the difficult to understand some stroke, some letter. I try to do 2 different versions, but thinking about that in the last day, I went to a possible 3rd version. So it's very complicated for me. Maybe you have a better idea. And the first possibility is to read ERACURA in the form AERACURA or ERACURA simply, because there is a wide in the lamina at this point, so you may have one big letter or 2 smaller letters. Rogo te domina, a formula that we know from some deficciones. Per pietate tua, where is another no formula that maybe correct in accusative form, but also live as ablative form as evolution of the use of accusative. Ut musam mista, missa, or mixta sit. Ita is repeated, this word. Ut amet, here is a broken part of the lamina, and there is a repetition of the T, but it is not clear if there is another letter after the T before mer. On the other side, we read curi, so the lamina was changed the side along the horizontal axis, and the author wrote curi, mer, curi on the other side. Then ducas illa musam, and then the reinforcement per ducas, also this is common, or there are one or two other deficciones with this kind of repetition and reinforcement, ducas, abducas, or ducas in this case, per ducas. Il, and then I don't read other here, in Tartaria. It is clear. So invocation to conduct a people, a person, through the help of Mercury to the other world. Mercurius, you have seen yesterday, Hermes Psychopompos, this is the typical function of Mercurius. And then, que mi, this is interesting, if you can see, there is an inversion of some letter. You need to read sustulit, but it is written as tustulit. And then male avitianus. Here is Tartaria, maybe eventually read as a Tartarum. Ut musam missa or mista. Mista is also interesting. When we think to the Greek word mistes, for example, initiated to do a particular kind of religious or sacral activities. But mixta have a strong meaning, should be lost forever, following, in this case, Mercurio. Missa is simply the invitation to go away with Mercury and so on. Ut amet is a point, a crucial point. She will do that. Why she will do that or not? Why she will do go back with Mercury or not? And this critical point induced me to think about a third possibility. She will do that, but there should be a dot here, and tu or te, invocation not to the Eracura, but to Mercurio. Ducas illa musa, per ducas illa in Tartaria, in Sovalia. And okay, so there are a lot of problems for right edition, correct edition of this text. It's not so easy. But what is interesting for me is that we have to do with the text concerning this goddess, Eracura, Aeracura, that we know from different deficciones and monuments coming from different provinces of the Roman Empire and from Italy too. And here there is a map of this testimony of the cult. The deficciones are concentrated in the Illyricum and in Aquileia now. The other kind of monument on stone or testimony concerning votive inscription, but also funerary inscription are coming from Italy or Germany or Asia or Africa. And an aspect is peculiar. Alfredo knows that problem because he wrote an interesting text some years ago about this name of the goddess. He thinks that it should be derived from the original Hera Curia, that is the goddess Hera, and then transformed, changed in ERACURA. Also because in some cases, like this, the fiction, we have the association of ERACURA as Juno Inferna with Jupiter Inferno, Plutus, or we have other association with this pattern. And so, sure, there is a form of association also with the figure of Proserpina. Then maybe this hypothesis is very interesting, but other colleagues say that will not explain the kind of monument and the presence of dedication in Germany, for example. And they think that should be a local goddess that has had diffusion, also distribution, spread also in other regions. And what is interesting in this case is the variety of the name. In particular, the first part of the name. We have ERACURA with E, ERACURA with H, VERACURA with P. We have some in certain cases in which it is possible to know if there is or not 1, 2 letters and what kind of letter. We have some abbreviation, AE and C, then it is read as AERACURA, but also that is not certain. AERACURA from Aquileia, ERACURA from Tiberius in Numidia, ERACURA with age, another form of abbreviation with Q in this case and age at the beginning, ERICURA in another case from Rothenburg and Neckar, from the same locality as coming other monument, and you may see there are 3 different reading or 3 different writing of the name. And then ERICURA, ERACURA with age, reconstruction of the name, but is only an hypothesis, and so on. ERACURA with age at the beginning, and so on. So it is real difficult in this case also put 1 or 2 letters at the beginning of this lamina. So I'm not sure if we have to do with 1 letter or 2 letters, and eventually what kind of letter at the beginning. Here we have the text from Fabiana and Noricum of similar defixio, in which we have Pluto, Jupiter Infernum, and ERACURA, but is integrated. So I'm not sure that there should be ERACURA in this case. Here we have this recent publication from Quincum with this pattern, and then ERACURA that was written with age but corrected by the publisher in AE, but is a correction that maybe not important or maybe false. Another in which we have this pattern and VERACURA in this case, and Cerberus. So his connection with the inferi and the other world is very strong. And then we have other kind of monument from Carnuntum, in which this pattern and maybe ERACUR are associated, but is a different kind of monument, not connected with magic aspect of a religion, but connected with official cult inside a town. Here we have some other, the same from Tbilisi. This is the only one from Gallia Lugdunensis that we have. And this is coming from one of the monument from Rottenburg, Germania Superior, where we have ERACUR, this case, and we have ERACUR is from this monument maybe understand as one of the matrone. We have seen the cult of the matrone were well distributed in northern and not only in Germany, but also until the North Italia. When not, matrona should be a cognomen of Otachilia. Here the abbreviation that we have seen, Q with Q. But all these monuments have to do with official cult, not with, so we may think that the cult of ERACUR is connected with two different aspects. The official one is a magical ritual, black magic, because if you have to ask Mercurius to take a man to the other world, we have to do with some black magic practice. And so, why I have some doubt about the name Matrona, because in this case, the representation we have of ERACUR is real, something that recall the figure of the Matrone with the kista and the fruits, the fertility. At the same time, Proserpina or Juno are goddess that will give prosperity for our world, but connected with the other world. And here too, we have official version of the cult to ERACUR. And I go very fast just to show that this official version is not typical only in German or in Carnuntum, but we have also in Perugia the mention of an inscription that is only recorded. I have no picture. That mentions an Aedes for ERACUR, made by Quintus Pedanius Felix and Pedania Juvenca. So a little temple dedicated to the goddess. And in Rome, ERACUR is an interesting place inside the Ipogeum of Vidvia on the Via Appia, where is one of the most interesting fresco of late. We are not in late antiquity, but in a phases that preceded the Christianization of Rome, of Italy. And ERACUR is mentioned with this pattern, with the fact that it is Mercurius, with Nuntius, that Mercurio Nuntius, as one of the deities that will accompany the Sensio, the way of the dead Vibia to the other world, where she is waited by his husband and by other people. They are waiting, drinking, and eating in a very nice scene that recall some scenes that are also typical in Christianism, but in this case they are indicated as a member of different priesthood for the cult of Mitra and Sabastius and so on. And some years ago, Francisco Marco Simon analyzed this fresco, see also element of a mixture that we have at a certain point of the history between different religions. There is the pagan religion, but with salvific principle and the growing of Christianity. And so in this case, ERACURA is one of the deities is mentioned in the concept of this kind of mixture. But we have another monument from Aquileia mentioning the goddess. And it is preserved today not in Aquileia, but in Grado, and is on the wall in the corner of the house in front of Santa Euphemia. We have maybe seen during our visit. And the text is falling off the first line, probably, where should be mentioned this pater. And then there is the mention of ERACURA and the indication that the monument and what was on the monument was made by Marcus Aurelius Gaurus, a veteramus ex voto, who sold with a votum for to ERACURA and this pater. And so I think this monument is particularly interesting because for the first time we have the two traditions concerning ERACURA together. So the magical one and the official one in the same place. And it may be an interesting topic to indicate in the future to understand if these two different aspects were together, in fact, or not. And if, yeah, this is more difficult to understand if there are a northern, maybe Germanic Celtic tradition that conflued with the Mediterranean, as to say, tradition coming from the model of ERACURIA. So thank you very much.